Hi everyone, and welcome to a new session session our Salesforce development sprint with Africa Ohana. I'm very happy we are on session number 3, and I'm super happy to see everyone who was contributing, who was joining the sessions, doing their homework, working hard. I really appreciate everything and all the effort you are doing. Learning is not easy and it takes time and it takes effort from you. So even if we spend 5 hours per day explaining and trying things together, it won't make a difference unless you want to learn and you want to have hands-on and you do your part of trying, having experiment with the code. So I really appreciate everyone's effort who's has been following us or being in touch. Again, I will start with some housekeeping and some expectations, just to refresh. Uh, Usually, the best case scenario is always to watch the videos in order. And the reason why I keep saying it's very important to do that, it's important because usually the way I teach is that I start with a topic in small pieces or bits. And then the next session I can add on top of it or like expand on the topic. So I don't keep repeating like the basics in the next session. Otherwise, I won't be able to finish it. So I rely on continuity from one session to another. So if you jump in one session in particular, unless you have all the basics that I'll be covering in the topic because you know it, you will find it hard to follow and you don't find me explaining them. And especially if it's a recording, like if we are attending or doing the sessions live and I'm explaining live, if you have a question because you didn't watch a previous video, I'll be able to help you and respond to you on the spot. But because you are watching a recording, you cannot have this opportunity of asking questions. So most probably the questions you have, the answer will be in a previous video. And again, if you have a question, I've received some great questions during the week. I do my best with the time difference and the kids and work that I get back to everyone who asks questions. But it's possible, like you ask a question, you are not sure about something, either I will guide you where to go, what to read, or which video to watch, or I will explain it to you as much as I can by chatting, or I will ask you to keep this question for today's session so we can discuss it together. So anyone who sent me a question during the week and I told them like, let's park it for today's session and go through it, please, when we open the Q&A session or the section from the session, please feel free to raise your hand, ask your question and let me know that we agreed on covering this question for you live today so we can take care of it. Code with Sally is a community for you. It's not just one way from me to you or me just announcing some details for you. It's more to communicate and connect with other peers who are in the same journey as you, who are learning. Maybe someone will have more experience than you, but the majority is here because they want to learn coding in Apex. So we are on this together. So feel free to always ask questions. Raise your hand. Maybe someone else know the answer and are not available. They will ask you to jump on a call. They will give you an example. They will guide you which video to watch, or they will provide you help. So again, I saw that this week was a bit better, but I still wish for you to use this opportunity to make new friends, to make a better community and a stronger one by sharing your updates, asking questions, helping others. Because believe me, even if you understand something, you will learn it more when you explain it to someone else. So take the opportunity and help each other. Next, I said this last week, but I don't know if someone missed it or you didn't watch the session, but a lot of people are still submitting week 1 homework to me. I'm not going to review week 1 while we are starting week 3 homework because that makes it impossible for me to keep up because we are a large group of people. So I usually correct the homework for the week. Like today, I won't be correcting any more homework for week 2. Otherwise, I won't ever get the time to finish anything or review the people who are submitting the homework for the next week. So my advice is always make sure, even if you were not able to finish everything, focus first on the videos for the previous weeks. And again, that's because we are explaining things in order. Finish them in order, first week, second week, third week, and so on. That's more important. Do the hands-on we are doing through the session because you have the answers, so you can do it and get the answer. If you finish week 1 and 2 videos, finish week 3 that we'll assign today first, and do any work related to that week first. At the end, if you have time, yes, go back to week 1 and week 2 homework. And if you want me to review it, yes, send it to me. But I cannot guarantee that I will be able to correct it for you if I'm too deep, like, or too busy correcting the week 3 homework, because you do one homework, I correct 50 homework. So it takes time from me. So please understand that and help me, and focus first on the videos so you know the knowledge, work on the hands-on, finish the homework of the current week first. If you have time, go to the previous weeks and send me. Either you have a question, I will answer it for sure. If you want me to review the homework, bear with me. I may not be able to review the previous week homework now until I finish the homeworks that I received for the new week. So that's just a general housekeeping. I wanted to make it clear and we are all on the same page. I know we discussed before the AI in ChatGPT and vibe coding. They are all amazing tools and they are very helpful, and you need to learn them and you need to know how to use them 100%. But it's not the right moment and it's not the right time for you to do that right now. I still receive homeworks done with the AI, and I can tell if it's done by AI or you did it. So I can tell when someone submitted a homework for me using AI. And I would say, like, as simple as if you didn't have the time to do it, don't rush and do it with the AI. Focus more on asking questions, making sure you know your like the topics we explained. And if you are confused about something, ask me. That's more useful for you. And at the same time, be mindful about my time. If you submit me homework submitted by ChatGPT, yeah, I send back comments about it because ChatGPT is not perfect. But there is no need for me, like at this stage, to correct ChatGPT code. We are more here to help you learn and grow your skills. So please, if you don't have the time or you feel too stressed to do the homework coding, don't give it to ChatGPT and send it to me. Maybe even if you want, give it to ChatGPT and learn what it did and ask ChatGPT to explain it to you. Or if you have a part that is confusing, why ChatGPT did that, I'm 100% open that you send me. Didn't get the chance to do it. I give it to ChatGPT and give me that, but I don't understand this line and this line. I will happily answer you because that will add to your skills and you understand something you didn't understand. But don't send me the code of ChatGPT to review, please, because it's a waste of time for me and it's a lot of effort for me, and you didn't do your part or you won't benefit from my feedback because you don't know the code that is written in the first place. So I just wanted to highlight this. I know I said it last time, but I still see ChatGPT homework submitted for me. I want to shout out for people on the board this week. Those people are working hard, trying their best. And I highlighted 3 names. I want to give them a special appreciation. They went above and beyond, in my opinion. Not necessary that they submitted the 10 homework or the 10 exercise we asked, and that's not the point. But I saw that they did a great effort, asked the right questions. They are keen to understand. And that's the whole point. Like, you don't have to be the perfect person to be highlighted. You can do simple things to show you are working hard and asking and trying your best. So kudos to everyone on the board, especially the names in red. They went above and beyond this week by asking direct questions, working hard, submitting great homework that they did personally. So I love it. Thank you so much. And you should be proud. And everyone, it's not late. Like, your name can still be there next week. So please, please do your best. And we are here to support you and help you grow. I'm not here to say you finished the 10 homework out of 10. It's not the target to say who finished more homework. For me, it's more who tried to understand the best or did their very best to understand. So please keep it going. And we have a harder week, or like, I wouldn't say harder, similar level of hard or work effort we need this week. And I will go through the expectation and on what you are supposed to do this week, but they are all important subjects for you to learn. Also, this is the board for Camp Apex, and those are the 5 names that got the chance to work on Camp Apex. I really love that some people finished every challenge in the variables, conditionals, and loops. But I would love to remind everyone, Camp Apex will be there for you forever. And as you saw, like, you do your exercise, you submit it, and you learn something new. But this is an optional exercise. So if someone put their main effort here and they leave the videos, they leave the other homeworks, you will be behind because you will lose the opportunity to ask me questions, to come to the sprint and ask your questions. So I will always say, finish first what you have planned for the week. From Code with Sally videos, homeworks, ask your questions, make sure you understand everything, then go back to Camp Apex and do as much as you can. The more you will code, the more experiments you will get, experience and confidence as well. So again, regardless of what happened during the week, I really appreciate that people went through with Camp Apex, experience how it's useful it can be, and they had the chance to finish. And thank you so much for everyone who worked hard on Camp Apex as well this week. Now we want to cover any questions you had during the week while working on Apex, object-oriented as objects, and any topics from the week before. But I know, and I noticed that a lot of people had some questions or struggles with those 3 exercises. So I will go through those first. We had a big homework and I didn't get other requests for other exercise to be reviewed. So based on what I saw from the homework submission, I feel those will be useful. So let's go through those. And after that, I will open the Q&A for anyone who has other questions about other exercise, or if someone has any question about any of the topics we covered last week and this week. Okay, so the first one, it's a list exercise. We are saying here, we want to have a list of integers representing scores and use list method to sort the scores in ascending order, then find the highest score without using the Apex built-in max function. So I know Monica had a question about that part. I will get her code that she shared here in the chat. And I will go to the developer console in my org. Let me open it as a new tab better. Okay, so she created a list of scores and then she used a sort method and then she printed. So the ask was to create a list of scores. And I put this comment for most of you who submitted a homework. This name of variable is amazing, great. It represents that we have multiple. The only thing that sometimes, and not all the developers do it, I like to do it. So I share my experience, and it's up to you whether to take it or not. But I like to name my list where the prefix is LST, and then I use S with capital. And the reason why I do that, because I like to have in my code, if you see in the code something like this, versus map scores versus set scores. Like if you have the versus scores, like if you see in a code, and we are not talking about 2, 3 line of code, you can have longer method, longer code pieces. If you see scores, you understand that it's not a single value. Like if I have a variable named score, that means it's a most probably primitive data type, and it will have a single value. If I have scores, that means most probably it's not a primitive data type and it have more than one value. But can you tell from the name whether it's a list, set, or map? At least from my end, I find it hard. Or if it's a long code that I'm debugging or trying to understand, I have to go back every time I find a plural variable to know what it was. So that's why I try to name it with LST or map or set at the beginning, because that's from the name only tells me what type of data collection it is. So, and again, scores or one of those, both are correct. The only thing that I would say it's not correct, and it's not because someone said it will not compile or someone will stop you. Like if someone names the list score, I would say this is a big no then, because it's singular noun and it doesn't represent that we have more than one value. So that's the only thing that it's a big no for me. That's acceptable and a lot of developers do it. It's just me. When I write code, I like it with this prefix and it's really up to you. So let's see here. Here we had a list of integers and we did sort. And for anyone who didn't know how to do that, you will go for list methods, apex, and you will open, like we don't memorize the methods and what's there. So we'll open the list class and we'll go to methods and we'll go scan one by one. So we'll find here that there is one that's called sort. So when you go to sort, you will find that it's a void and it's just doesn't take anything. It's not static. And I had this question as well. I will go to it, but it gave me as well an example how to use it. And that's what Monica did here. She did the list and sort. So let's see the difference between the two. I would do here for my own debugging. I see here before sorting, and I do plus, and then here I do after sorting and single quote and plus. So I printed just to see the difference and show you as well what it does. So here, when we do debug, I can see it's sorted from the smaller, like here, it's the way we entered. Here, it's got sorted from small to big. Do you remember when we said like each item in a list has an index? So here, the index of 5 is 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So one way you could do it, if you wanted to print the largest item, you could, and someone submitted that, and that's totally fine. You can do like this and do number 4. And that will give me that the largest value should give me the 25. So it's the 25 because I went with the index. The other question, does it make sense to hard code it as 4 in real project? Like in this example, in this homework, it's totally fine. But in real project, does it make sense to hard code it? The answer is no, because maybe now it's 4 and someone now go here and do LST scores dot add and enter here 100. And they did it even after the sort, because the sort will put it, or even before. Let's do it before. It will be still not correct. So if I execute, the 100 will be at index 5, but having the hard-coded index here would be get me the 25. So what can we do instead of that? We know it's always the last item. You will go here. There is one of the methods that you can use. It's size. So you have here a size. It tells you what? It returns a number of elements in the list. So it will return you how many elements you have. So I can do here, call another method that tells me list.size. Is that correct? Am I ready to run it? Can someone tell me? Like it will give me the list size, will tell me that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it will return 6.
So because it is counting from 0, it's going to go out of.
Correct. 100% correct. So if we try to run it, you'll get an exception. It will tell you that you don't have 6 in your list. Even though we have 6 items, because the index starts from 0, we don't have anything at index 6. So what you can do is that you can go with the size -1 here. So it will get you 6 -1, so it will go to the last one. So if I go now here and do that, it's the 100. If we go again and add another item here as 200, let's say, 200, and I execute, we will get the 200 out like automatically now. We don't have to worry about it. We got the 200. So it gets you the last one. We sorted ascending, and we know always the last one will be the biggest. So we get the size of the list, and we get the 200. Make sense? Okay. I had another question. Let me, before going to the second exercise. So someone here told me, let me find an example, good example for you. Let's see. I have here, let's create a string, and I want volunteers to tell me what they think it's happening. So I will say here string str value, and I say hello Africa Ohana. And then I do here system.debug. I do system.debug, and I will say string.value dot, and I will use the capitalize. The capitalize will return the first letter of the text capital. So let's do that. It's a method that we have. So, and let me get to the signature of the method. So I will get it here in front of us, and I will execute. Signature of the method, if you watch the videos, it's like the definition of the method, what it will return, what parameters. So see here now, it created the first letter capital. Let me add another method for you, and I want you to give me an answer why it's happening. Let's see. Not this one. Okay, I want to use is empty. So when I will use is empty, I'll put you the signature for the method here. I will do system dot debug, and I will do string dot is empty, and I will give it my string, which is string value. And we know we have a value. So if this return true or false, it will return false for us. So it will return here false for us. So I had a question, and I want to see if someone can answer. Why, when we did the is empty, we did string dot is empty, and when we did the capitalize, we did string dot value dot capitalize and not string dot capitalize. Can someone tell me why?
I think it's coming from there's statics and intents method.
And there is what, sorry, Patrick?
The capitalize is an instance, why the is empty is a static method.
Correct.
Okay.
So let's review what that means for anyone who was wondering the same. You'll see here from the signature of the method, this is a public string capitalized. This is public static. So static, if you watch the videos for the object-oriented, we said we always call it from the class without an instance. In that case, our class is the string class. So we do string, which is the class, dot is empty, the method, and then we send it the string that we want to check against if it's empty or not. When the method signature doesn't state that it's static, that means we will use it from an instance. So we have to create an instance of that class. In that case, our instance is the string value from the class string. And that's why we have here the object, which is the string value dot capitalized. And we discussed this in the video of the object oriented. So it applies as well for Salesforce methods, classes, and documentation. So that's why as well, it's very important to learn how to read Salesforce documentation, because I don't memorize, like even if I know like there is a capitalized method and another one for two lowercase, two uppercase is empty, I don't have to memorize all of them. All I need to go is to the documentation of the string methods, and I have to read the signature of the method. So here, the signature tells me it's not a static, so I will use it using an instance, and it doesn't take any parameters. So that's why I called it the way I did now. The signature of this method told me it's a static. It will return a Boolean, and it takes a string. And that's why static means I will call it using the class. So I use the string class dot, call the method, pass the string that I want. Make sense? Anyone has a question regarding this? Or the first exercise of the list? Okay. The second exercise was about the sets. So there was a lot of questions about retain all. So let me get to two sets so we can start with them. And I will say, for example, let's go here. I will say string set string, and I'll say set names 1, and I can get the set of names. Here, I'll create an instance from the set and put some names in it. Okay, and we'll create another one. So I'll create here set of string, set names 2. And again, I'll go get some names. Here, what we wanted to do in the exercise, we have 2 sets. So we created 2 sets, and that's something else I wanted to make sure everyone is reading exactly, because some people like scan the requirement and send me something that doesn't meet what we are asking. So you have to go through what it means. Did we create 2 sets? Yes. Representing names? Yes. Find the intersection showing names that appear in both sets. And we give you a hint. We didn't want you to go through a for loop and figuring out this yourself. So we said like we want you to go and use retain all. So retain all, and that the reason we wanted you to set methods or sets, set class, Apex. We want you to get used to reading the documentation. So in that case, you go search for retain, and here we are using a set. So here, retain only the element in the original set that are contained in the specified set. So here it's not static. So that means we'll call it from an instance. It will return true or false. It takes a set. And then it will say here, what do you want to pass? This is the set. It return true if the original set changed as a result of the call. That means if we had to change the first one based on the intersection. So this method results in the intersection of the two sets. The specified set must be the same type of the original, so you cannot use it with a set of strings and set of integers, for example. So here, let's see, Boolean result, and let's call it with the best way we like, is changed, is set changed. And I would say set names one dot retain all, and I pass to it the second set. So let's see. Here, Alice is here. Bob is not here. Charlie is here. Diana is not here. So we are expecting to have Alice and Charlie only then. And let's print both system.debug. And I will show here is set changed. And I will print as well set names one. Let's run this together. What did I do wrong? Retain all. Did I write it wrong? Oh, okay. I have a missing N. So I just missed an N in the retain. So let's execute it now. And I'll do debug. When we see here, first I see that it printed true. And the reason why, because set names now, names one, now include only the intersection. So that's very important to understand that this method changed the first set we are calling. So let's say you have a use case where you wanted to have the intersection without impacting set name one. That means you had to copy one of the sets in a new or a third set and use that instead. But in that case, it changed set names one, so we lost Bob and Diana from the set. So it's very important to understand that, because sometimes that's exactly what you want, and sometimes no, you want to still keep the values for this. Let's see what it means, the Boolean. If I add also Bob to the second set, and I will add Diana, and let's execute it now. You'll find that this now return false. The Boolean return false, because true or false that it returns, it identify or it tells you if set names one that you called the method from, the instance that you used to call the retain all, did it change as a result of this operation or not? When we had everything of this set in the second set, it returned false because it got me the intersection and nothing more, and it didn't remove anything from it. So it was the exact result. But when we had a difference and some of them from list one is not in the second, it changed the set names one and returned false. So it's important to read the documentation, because some people were confused, like, why is returning true or false, or what's the usage of the true or false? So is it a bit clear? Anyone has a question about it? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a question, Sally.
Sure.
Why do we have to use the Boolean when it's going to change the sets? Is it necessary to use a Boolean?
So you don't have to. Like, I could call it, like, let's do that. You can totally do that. When you are in a project, you can just call it and ignore that it's returning anything. You call it like this directly, and you can print, and you will see that it got changed, or it got to the intersection. Like, it has Alice, Bob, and Charlie now. it's, do you have to use it? The answer is no. You don't have to use the return type of any method, but it's only Salesforce is providing you with this. This is the method signature. Like we cannot go and say, I want this to return me a new set. It's a method that Salesforce created. We have to use it as is. The way they build the method, that it returns a true or false to indicate that the method that we use to call the retain all from, the one will put the result in, did it change or not. Sometimes, in some cases, you may want to see if that changed and you want to use this Boolean, and sometimes it doesn't make any sense to you or you don't care about it, so you can totally ignore it. Is that clear, Patrick?
Sure, thank you.
You're welcome. Joe, you have a question.
Yeah, just to add up to this, yeah, I didn't really think about it that way, but earlier I was thinking that maybe like in real case or real world scenario, you could use this as a flag to track changes in a particular set. And then based on that, you can perform a certain set of functions. So if maybe there is no change in the items or the size of that particular, the content of the set, then you don't do anything. If there is a change and then the flag changes from true or false, then you can implement XYZ on it. I mean, that could be some use case for it.
Exactly. Like you can have a set of record IDs, and then, for example, you keep the record IDs that got updated in it, and then you do another operation, you get out of it another set of IDs, and you want to see, like, is it the same? Did we remove anything? Did we change the first set of record IDs? So you do the retain all. It tells you that it got changed or not. Like the usage of those methods are endless. And how we can benefit from the return type is endless too. In some cases, in some real use cases, you don't really care about this Boolean that is coming back. And in some other cases, it can be, as you said, Joe, like an indication whether I should fire another automation, another code to run, another checks to do. So it's just for us to know how to read the documentation and how to benefit from it. Like it caused some confusion, like how we are expecting to merge two sets and why are we getting a Boolean yes or no. The documentation is explaining to us like what is this Boolean is doing. So we have to get used to like reading this and trying as well with a trial and error in developer console, as I did, and see the output ourselves to make sure we got the idea correct. And then the options are like to the sky, like what to do with them or what's the use case. And sometimes like you may work in a lot of projects and you don't use retain all. The point is getting more confident and comfortable reading the documentation. But yes, exactly, Joe. Your use case is valid 100%. The other homework that I saw a lot of people were like a bit confused about is the employee map. We said like we want to create an employee map where employee ID is the key and the value is their name. And we want to add entries to the map. So we'll add values to it, and then we'll write a snippet to invert it. So the names are the key and the IDs are the values. Again, we wanted to see how we can iterate on the map. So how to iterate on the map is essential. We want to showcase, it doesn't have to always be the key is the ID and the value is the string. You can switch the two. So it's really up to you, the use case that you need. It's just you need to know. And I think like by you watching the videos of list and sets last week, and this week you learned about the map, I hope it's more clear that the sets, like the key of a map, behave more or less like sets, and the value of each key behave as a list. So it can have duplicates in the value, but you cannot have duplicate in the keys. So it's the same, and it's very essential because when you create a map, let's go, I will do this example, then we do the exercise, but I have here string, and I do map student grades. or let's do this as integer. And I do here new map string integer. And I would love someone else other than Joe and Patrick trying their best to answer this question. Sorry, guys. I want to encourage the remaining of the attendees to participate too. So I do here Adam, and I will say here 90. I will do here, let's do again. I put here Sally, I got 20, and another Adam got 150, and another student called Dana got 77. First question, how many entries in the map? Like if I print the size of the map, how many we have? And let me show you map methods, Apex. Like we want to print how many items we have. So I would do here, I want to search for a size. So we have a method called size. We'll be calling this. If I do this, debug and map size, and I put here that I want to print the map size. Can someone tell me what do they expect to have? Do we have 2, 3, 4, 5?
4. 3.
4. We have Gothman. What did you say? I heard 4 from Ayub, I believe.
3.
Yeah, I said 4.
Okay. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. And Gotham, you said 3, right?
Yes.
Okay. Any other, like we have 3 and 4, any other votes? Monica,
4, I say 4.
you say 4. Okay, let's print it and see
I think
together.
3.
Okay, let's print it and see together then. The answer is 3. Why? We said that the key act as a set. Does the set allow any duplicates? The sets doesn't allow duplicates. So here, if we do mental debugging, we'll have Adam as 90. Then we'll have here Adam as 90. And we'll add on top of it Sally 20. Here we want to put for Adam 150. So what will happen here, that we'll find that in our set we allow only one value. So we have already Adam. It will go update the value of Adam to be 150, and Sally is the same. And then we'll add Dana. So we'll have Adam 150, Sally 20, and then Dana at 77. And it didn't complain, it didn't give us any error. So that means if I do the now system.debug, Adam score, and I put here, I want to get Adam dot get, and I put the key Adam, and let's see. We should get the 150 based on our mental debug. And that's correct. So you won't have 2 Adam. It's only 1. The map, in terms of the key, behave as a set. It's kind of a set, and you will have only 1 value for the same key. So you don't have multiple key entries for the same text. So here it's simpler than what we did. We wanted to have a map where we have the IDs and names, and then we can loop through it to like switch them. So what you would do here, you will have here map. Even we can change it. It's fine. We can have here map string. We ask for a map string. We have here map student grades, for example. And again, names matter, so be careful with the names. And we have new map string. I can initialize it as an empty map and put one by one. And the other way we can do it is we can add them one by one if we want. So I would do here the other way. We are not always comfortable like doing it, or some people tend to do the other way more, but I would do here like this. I can have here ID2, and I can put here Sally, and comma, I can do here ID3, and I do the name Mona, for example. So now I initialized, I created, declared, and initialized my map with the values. You can do that, or you can decide as well. After that, you want to add another one, dot put, and I can say here ID 4, and I'll have Monica here, for example. Now we want to invert it. First, it's not recommended that you invert it in the same map, like because you will loop on the map. And some people change the map while they are looping on it. And that's the output, and like the behavior would not be as expected 100%. So what we'll do is we'll create another map, and we'll do here student string, and we do here, it's not student grades, it's employee names, but here we can have map inverted, and we can do map here, new map string and string. What we need to do is we will need to loop on the map. So the map that we want to do loop on it is this one. What do we want to loop on it? Like we cannot loop on a map that has a key and value. We can either map on the values or map on the keys. So if I loop on the values, it would be hard for me to find their key. So I will start with the key. So we have a method called keySet. This will return what? It will return a set of the data type of your key. Your key here is of type string. So as if this will return for you a set of string. When you loop on a set of string, you will loop on the value. So you have here string, because some people were struggling. What is the data type they will put in the for loop? The data type will be the type of a single item in your set. And why I'm saying set? Because we are looping on the keys of this map. So what I would do here, I would do here map inverted. What I would put in there, I would do the value. I would do here the map, get the ID value, get me the value of this ID, and put, so the value became the key, and the key became the value for it. And then here I can print it, system.debug, and I'll have map inverted, and I can do here inverted, and I do like that, and I can do here original, and I put here the map, the original map. So let's see it. So we'll see here that the ID 1 equal Alex. It starts with a key. Here became Alex equal ID 1. So we switch between the map and the key. And again, that was more for you to get more comfortable about initializing a map, how you can loop through it. You want to loop through the key set or the value, how you can create the inverted value and using another map to do that. So those are the three like exercise based on people assignment and who submitted. Maybe the other homeworks you need more help with it, but that's based on what I got. Let me go through the chat and see. There was a question, I think I didn't see it at the time. There was a question, what if we wanted to always print a third number? And I assume that was when we were talking, Patrick, about the list, and we wanted to say of index like size -1. if you have a requirement that you want always to show the third item, so 0, 1, 2 at index 2, that's the use case that you want to go, so you go for it. It's just my request is always to think like, do I want to hard code? Like if you find yourself anywhere in the code hard coding an ID, hard coding an index, you always have to question yourself, is this really what I want to do, to be hard coding, or I don't want to? Joe, you have a question.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, my question is related to the sorting that we did in the other side. I wanted to find out if there is an option or possibility to sort and then also give a condition that it sorts in descending or ascending order.
So you want to
So you
sort
could
it
do in,
this.
let's say, an SOQL.
Okay. So you want here the list class. Always you have to check, do we have something to do that out of the box or not? So here you would read the sort. The method with primitive data type, select option as object. So it tells you what type of list it will work for. You can sort custom object if they implement comparable. That's an advanced topic. You can, if you have a custom class that you created you have a list of this type of class, you can create something called comparable. The class implementing comparable, when you sort the method of list IDs. Okay, so here it's saying ascending. So in general, like when you have a custom Apex class and you want to sort, you have the control over the logic. Like you will do the comparable implementation and you can control it. So that's what you would do if you are using like a custom Apex and you want to sort it. If you are like using out of the box, that will do it for you as ascending. If you wanted to go descending, your for loop should go the other way around. Like you want, like go from, if you're doing the traditional for loop from 0, 1, 2, 3, no, you will start the other way around, and your increment in the for loop will be, instead of I++, can be I minus minus. So you go the other way around. Make sense? If you are having a custom Apex controller, then you can control this implementation the way you want. Ayub, you have a question?
I just want to ask you about the try catch. Does it do the same as database insert false? Since we know that the Boolean false confirms that whether we want our code to run all or none or partially. So I'm talking about the partially part.
Sorry, can you repeat it? So you want to ask about the database insert and the partial insert, right? Ayub, you're breaking?
Yeah.
So what's your question there?
Does it do the same as the try catch?
No, the difference is big between if like you try to let's say you have a list of 3 accounts and you try to let me try to create it for you here. List. And I do list accounts. And I do a new list of account. And I do here list accounts dot add, and I say new account, new account, and I say name equal Africa Ohana 1. And I do 2 more. This is 2, and this is 3. And then here I will create it without a name. and I'll create 5. Okay, and try to insert this list. This without any try and catch. And let me show you here. If I go to sales and I do here Africa, I don't see anything here. Let's try to execute it. It will tell me variable does not. Okay, sorry. I need accounts. I put them as without the S. So let's go again. It will tell me here line 7 has an issue, required field missing. It couldn't go and finish. If I search for them, nothing of them was created, and that's behavior because we don't have a try and catch. If I do try, in here, catch, exception, X, and I'll print here system.debug, check error, and I do here ex.get message. And let's move those for the indentation. And let's try. I won't get the pop-up message because it's handled exception to the now and give me the error. Let's go here and search for Africa. Nothing got created. Yes, you didn't get the unhandled exception that we got the first time. It's handled. You get the error nicely, or like you will manage it the way you want. You can log it somewhere or do whatever you want. Let's see here if I do instead of that database dot insert, and I pass here list of accounts, and I would say all or none false. So I want to allow the partial. This will return a list of saved results, and we can loop through it to see what was successful and whatever is not successful, why it failed. Because of the time, I won't be doing this here now. And that's another example that some methods can return a data type, but here I chose to ignore it. In real life, whenever we do that, we want to go through the results and find it. So I will execute now with the partial, and we didn't get any error. We didn't see the error printed because we didn't loop through the save results to print whichever record failed. Let me go now in here and I will search and find 1, 3, 4, 5. 1, 3, 4, 5, all of them got created. So the one that failed with the database.insert as a partial didn't stop me from the whole transaction to fail. When you have the insert, all of them either will succeed or pass. And I call this line is the same as if you do the true here. I want to use database insert, but with true, all or none. Either you succeed to insert everything or don't create or insert anything. So the try and catch will help you catching an exception and how you handle it, but it won't help you with the partial. You will have partial if you insert one by one. But again, we don't do one by one, we do bulkify. So you will always have either the insert the whole list or the partial. And that's a question to ask the team always when you are working. Do we want to either fail everything or succeed everything? So it's a question you have to wonder about. Patrick, do you have a question?
Yes, actually, my question is relating to the method and class relating to a list, right? On the exercise, I was able to do without the method and class, but adding it to a class and a method and calling it outside the class, the structure of the whole public string, the list, to me, it seems a little bit confusing for me.
Do you have a code sample that I can take and like we talk through it? Because it's hard for me to understand which part is confusing you.
No, for now, I don't have a code sample.
Which exercise?
the last one we did concerning the create, edit, create, update, read, delete.
For the S objects, this one?
Yes, correct. Yes,
Okay.
correct.
So your question is, why do we create it on a method?
I was able to do it from the anonymous window,
Yes.
but to add it to a class and a method and call it, it's a little bit confusing for me.
Okay, so let me try to get from a homework here in front of me. So what most probably you did something like that, like you have a list, whichever the name you had, you created, for example, 3 accounts, and you inserted the accounts, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so the ask was to create a method, and the reason why we wanted to do that is we want you to be more comfortable with creating, because the execute anonymous will be your friend when you want to test something. But if you want to have a trigger, you want to have a utility class, you want to do anything in Salesforce, working with LWC and writing Apex, you'll never have code in execute anonymous. You have to move it to Salesforce structure. So Salesforce structure, you have to have a class. So you will be creating a class. So let's say I will call it account utility. So you created, whether from Visual Studio Code or from here, find new Apex class. And I would say account utility. Because I'm creating a class, I have to start it with capital. Now we want to have a method. So you have to create method signature first. Method signature will come always as like the access modifier, which is public, private, and then if you need static or not, is it static, or you want to, like, if you want someone to use it, create an instance from account utility, or it's a utility class that anyone can call it. So you want it to be static without creating an instance. Then you choose return type, then method name, and then you open the bracket and have parameters. So here, what we wanted to do is a method to return or to create accounts. So I can have here, I can do, for example, we want it to be public because we don't want it to be encapsulated. It's not a helper method within the account utility. It's something we want someone outside to use it. So that we'll go with public. Do I want someone to create an instance from the account utility to use it? The answer is no. So I create static. Do I want to return something? I can either decide I don't want to return anything, so I do it as a void, or I can return what's the list of accounts that will be created. And here I can have create new accounts. What's the parameter? And that's another choice. Like, do you want it to always, when it's called create 3 accounts called ABC, the way we have, or you want to pass a set of string for names, set names. So that's a decision you need to make. So now I'll be creating the list that I want to create. So list of account, list accounts. Let me put this down. Accounts and new list of account. And I will loop through the set string account name. And I will say set names here. I'm looping through those. And I put in my list the new account dot add new account, new account. And I say here name equal, and I say the account name coming from the set. So now I create my list, and then here I'm outside the for loop. I do insert list of accounts. And if I want to return it, then I will return the list of accounts because I didn't create it as a void. Then I will save it. Let's see. line 5. Okay, so now it's return required type of list. It's a list of accounts. So let's see what's complaint. Line 5, static list account, missing return statement required. It's there. Let's see. I'll close this to see the error. Here it's another class. It's complaining about it. This, my missing return statement required return type list. So here we have the list of account. Here I have the list of account. And oh, sorry. I'm doing 2 inserts. So here I need the return method. So I need to return accounts. So I will save. Now this error should go. When we go to execute anonymous, instead of having this here, what I will be doing, I can create a set string, set names, new set string, and I can say here, Africa, December 1, and I can add another one, Africa, December 2. And I call the method. So because it's a static method, I'll be doing that. Account utility dot create accounts, and I pass my set. And this one is returning a list of accounts. So I can use this to create here list accounts, and I can print this list for you. So I print the list of accounts we created. So the reason why we wanted to do that, let's see, here I have created account 1 and it has an ID. So that means it got inserted. We have another account created with Africa December 2 and got created. And you could choose that you have the names hard-coded, but the best is to have it dynamic like that. And the reason why we are doing this, because soon you will be asked to create test factory methods and classes for your project. So instead of creating the test data in each test class or test methods you have, you'll create a test data factory, which will be a utility. So we want you to get used to creating a class method, choosing the signature, creating or doing the operation you want. Is it clear now, Patrick?
Yes, it's clear. But one question: what if, let's say, in a real life situation, I shouldn't be writing on this anonymous window, so I'm gonna be putting this on the trigger or what?
In real life scenario, you would need to create still your classes, your methods, and you will choose always when you're creating whether it will be static. Like if you're creating a trigger handler, the methods there will be static because you'll call them from the trigger. Or if you have an controller for Apex for an LWC, it won't be static because you will be using this in LWC. If you have, for example, you want to have a utility class for string methods, operations you do on math, whatever, you will create a static and then you will call it from all the classes you have, invocable methods, Apex batch class, like the options are endless. It depends on where you would need it or where you will call it from. We are just building the Lego, the small piece of the Lego, to know that where you will create a class and how to create a method and the difference between static and non-static. This week, we'll learn about triggers, trigger handlers. So you will start see those things coming together. And the more you will learn about asynchronous Apex, invocable methods, stuff other than that, you'll find yourself using those patterns or using the concept of creating methods and calling them, and you have to make a decision whether it's static or non-static. Make sense?
Sure, thank you.
You're wrong. Okay, so let me, I didn't go through the chat. I just want to go through the rest if someone needs to drop and if I have a hard stop, and then we can go back to the questions. So let me finish. Omar, I know you have a question. Let's park it until we finish what's the homework and what are the expectation, and then we will go back to the questions at the end. So the homework overview, those are the ones that we covered and answered some questions and some like patterns I saw in the homeworks. The homework of the week 3. So for the week 3, we have 13 video again. Some of them will be talking about the SOQL and SOSL. So it's important for us how to retrieve data and how to manage this data and work with it. We learned about the S object. We want to see it in action with SOQL. Also, we'll learn about trigger, and it's a way of automation. If anyone work with record trigger flows, it's the same idea, but in Apex. So we want to see how to write a trigger, what's the best practices. And they are only 2 videos. Watch them in order because we will do something, not the best, like best practice in the first video, but we are starting to learn about what it means and how to work with it and what triggers are and the syntax for it. And in the second video, we'll clean it up and know the best practices for writing a trigger. So it's a must to go through it in order. Then we'll go through the unit testing. And unit testing are essential to watch them and understand. Again, we took it step by step to explain it. That some people have the idea that unit testing are just for code coverage, but unit testing are essential for you and your project and for regression testing. So it's very important how to do it. And Patrick, you will go, when you watch it, we'll see we are talking about test data factory and writing a test methods. So you will find a lot of ways to write methods within your classes along those videos between the trigger and unit testing. Also, we'll have the exception handling and the bug log. Exception handling, that will be very important as well. Ayub, if you watch it, will explain different behaviors and you will find some of them are very interesting and some of them I didn't know about until I prepared for the sessions. So you will understand more about how exception handling working, how we can roll back changes on exceptions. So they are very useful and each of those topics are essential for day-to-day job and work. So they are very important to understand. So those are the first part of your homework. You must watch them in order. Make sure you understand. If you follow with the examples we have during the session, you don't need to send me those examples unless you have a question. 100% send me. But I won't be reviewing the samples we are doing through the sessions in the video. The next is you have first part is required, which is code with Sally, and it's super important. And the second part is Camp Apex, which should come after you finish the homework. So let me go here because I want to show you this GitHub for you. You have the link. I put it in the chat and I will have it in the recording as well. You will find that I'm explaining for you what you are learning, the links for the videos. Then I'm telling you, do everything you see in the videos, but don't submit. You don't need to submit. And we made a decision. We were supposed to start the homeworks next week. The final project will start it this week. And that's because I want to give every group like to be your buddy for studying, learning this week. Each group in your own channel, I would say first try to choose a nice name for your group. You don't have to go with the group 1 and 8. Choose a funny name, get to know each other, meet together. Let's make a plan between you by when you can finish the watching the videos. It's essential between you guys in each group to make sure that you all are on the same page and you finish the videos. After that, we'll start the final project this week to give you head start as much as possible, to finish as much as possible, so you don't have only 1 week to work on it. So this week, as I said, get to know each other, meet, choose a name, consider it as a studying group between you guys. Encourage each other in the group to get going and finish the homework and the videos. Once you are done and you're ready, we want you to, in my opinion, and it's really up to each group how you want to work on that. I think it's best to see if you will work on it like in your own org individually and then meet and collaborate, or you want to create another new developer org and share user and name and password and work in a single org and split the work between you guys. But what we want to create, we'll create a custom object called project. We'll have a name, standard, start and end date and description. Project task, another custom object. It's the parent-child relationship. So the parent is project, the child is the project task. So you will have, again, those are the fields. If anyone during the working has a question, let me know. I will update the README file to make it clear for everyone, but those are the fields. Then we stated some requirements for you for the trigger object, for the project object and the project task object. Like both of them, we have some requirements that we are asking you to implement it using triggers, even if some of them can be implemented using flow, using validation. We want you to use triggers for that and trigger handlers. And that's why it's super important to finish the videos first, because you need to understand triggers and you need to understand exception handling and unit testing to be able to start it. So that's why we want you to work on that as a study group and encourage each of you to get it done and maybe start having a plan which day we want to finish this video, because we want you to start as early as possible in your homework, because on your final project, we could give each of you a homework to work on triggers, but we wanted to give you more time on your project. So we are starting this between a mix between a project, a final project, and a homework for this week. So you will work on the triggers. We have requirements of unit testing and test classes to create. And at the end, not this week. This week, I'm not waiting for any gist or any submission for code unless you have comment, you need early feedback, feel free. But on the long run, I will need code coverage percentage. I want to see a screenshot of your test methods executed, how many test methods you had, how many of them passed and failed. I want some screenshots that prove that you tested your triggers and it's behaving the way we are asking you in the requirements. Also, this week, 100%, I'm expecting along the week, like updates, regular updates from the group. We are, let's say 10 of us, 2 finished 2 videos, 3 finished 5. We are targeting to finish that by that day. Let's make it like more motivation to keep up to date and to get it done. But I will get a single update per group in the group Slack channel. I won't be getting any one-to-one updates or follow-up. And I want to know as well the participation. We want to make it clear that it's fair. I don't want one person in the group doing all the project and the others not working. So I would need to know who did what in that project and how did you split the work, or how did you work on it as a group. So it's very important for me. There is a question if the deadline is 16. Before 16, definitely I will get the code submitted to see it. On the 16, each group will have 10 minutes, around 10 minutes to present their running solution, or as much as they could do, screenshots or like summary of what they did, the percentage of the code coverage, what they achieved, also who did what. Like we want kind of, you will have 10 minutes, so you have to be mindful what you will be presenting to show a working code and a working solution, and at the same time showcase as much as you can the effort the group put in the code and the test classes and the requirements and who did what. So I will leave it up to each group how you want to present, but definitely we want to see what did you reach in the working flow. So we want to see something live, not just slides. I don't mind if you have 0 slides at all, but I mind not seeing anything working unless your team has technical issues and you couldn't make it work at all. Then we have to understand what happened there and what was the blocker. And I expect each team to communicate ahead of time and don't wait until the last minute to report that their solution is not working. You have from today till the 16th, but this is not the full requirement. This is a part of the project. So yes, you have Monica until the 16th, but next week when we meet, we'll see where everyone is doing, what are the questions, answer questions about the topics, the examples, why we do that, why we did that, what's the documentation, can we explain more this example that we did during the session or the recording, etc. We won't be solving the project in the live session 100%. Because we want to be fair for all the groups. So we won't be sharing solutions in the live session, but we won't mind answering questions here and there about it. But next week, we'll add on top of those requirements, more requirements to be included in your final project. So that's why we decided to, instead of giving you a separate homework for this week for triggers, we'll utilize it within the group. And next week, we'll add more on top of it. And also we'll see how the teams are doing. We are not 100% strict about how much we'll be adding next week. We'll see the progress for everyone and we'll make the decision based on that. So that's why it's very important if you stay in touch and updating me with your progress, each group of the cohort, because if I get only one group keeping in touch and telling me their updates, I'll base the requirements and what we are expecting next week based on that group. So the more groups will submit their progress and what they are doing, challenges, where they are from finishing the requirements, etc., that will determine what we'll do for next week. And again, kindly, please don't use ChatGPT. If you are going to use it because you don't understand, please mention that and tell me your challenges. I'll try to support or I will try to tell you what to do in that case. But please don't go and do the homework and assignment or the final project using ChatGPT. I will know it. I won't appreciate it. You won't be learning anything. The main target is to learn and to grow together. So that's the homework of this week. No real submission beside screenshots, updates, status, who is doing what, where is the group from finishing the videos, staying in touch, communication 100% every day. I would love it. More than once per day, I would love it too. And it's a way for you to get in touch with your group mates in the cohort groups. So please use it. Feel free to talk as much as you want, meet as much as you want. It's your part of your learning how to work as a team as well. Again, after you finish all of that, or if you are too bored and you want to have fun, you can do some of Camp Apex. We did share some topics last week to practice. Those are other sections you can practice based on what we learned last week, this week, and the week before. So it's more, not this week, but last week and the week before. So this more as revision. So feel free to do as much as you can, but the priority is for the videos, for the communication within the groups, starting your final project, staying in touch, keep me posted with your progress, who's doing what within the team. I don't want people just watching, doing nothing, and one person doing the homework. So it's a bit of change this time, but we don't want to keep everything for just the last week because it will get some time for you guys to figure out with the difference of time zone and everyone commitment, what's the best way to meet the checkpoints, how frequent you will talk. So we wanted to give you in total 2 weeks, but the requirements we share today is not the final and we'll have more. any questions first about the final project, week 3 homeworks, the videos, the expectations? Okay, I have thumbs up, and no one is unmuting. So I hope everything is clear. Please communicate. I know a lot of people didn't attend. They will be lost and they don't know how to proceed. So everyone, I hope at least we have one representative from each group. If you are there, please communicate. Advice for everyone to watch the session, communicate the updates, what's the expectation. Otherwise, you'll have bumpy road ahead of you for the last 2 weeks. Okay, we are at 1:30 now, so I can stay like maybe 10 minutes or so. So Omar, if you're still there, I know you had your hand up. What's your question and how can I help?
Hello, Sally.
Yes, hi.
I have multiple layers of case information in my work. So I have everything starting from email to case and case assignment rule, triggers, either flows or epics, and even omnichannel routing. I have a slight problem with understanding the order of execution for cases, starting from email to case. I read article about the order of execution on Salesforce Bell, but there is one thing I don't understand because the article says that the flows run the first time after email the case, either before save or after save, and they run as well another time, or again after assignment rules and with response rules. So this is a little bit tricky. I want to understand why the flows run twice.
Okay, let me first see the chat, and if someone has a question about the topics we are covering in Africa Ohana first. So, and get back to you if we still have time. So I see in the chat, Ayub, you had a question about the try and catch and database insert. So I think we covered that one. You had another question regarding is empty a static method? So it's in a string class. To answer this question, Omar, can you unmute yourself? Unmute yourself, please. Yeah, thank you.
No. I tried to guess the answer. I got it right. I know the
Okay.
answer.
Okay.
Not asking.
Okay, great. And then we have some answers about the slides, a lot of fours. And I hope everyone who answered 4, they understand now it's free. If not, let me know. And okay, please explain more on creating public class and method of list similar to as object exercise. That's Patrick. So I think we covered that one. Okay, so yeah, I think we are good. Anyone has other question regarding lists, sets, maps as objects? Okay, so Omar, you have a question here, and it's a bit more advanced. So, order of execution in Salesforce. So there is multiple articles. You can go through them, like you can search the same way I did. You'll have multiple articles because this is Salesforce. I trusted 100%. The other two is Salesforce Ben and Apex Hours. They are good resources, but I'd like to always to match or go back to Salesforce documentation for more accurate. But at the end, like the way I saw it, like mostly they are the same. Here it's saying like it will tell you exactly how it's happening. And even there is another one in Architect for Salesforce Architect. Architect, no. Order of execution. Okay. There was another drawing by Salesforce. I just cannot find it right now. If I find it, I will send it to you offline. But here, all of them will be explaining the same, what's happening by loading the initial record. Then we load the new values. Then there is a standard system validation for like the checks that it runs. And here it's explaining like valid field format, maximum field length. So what's happening? Then it happens, the record trigger flows, and then the before triggers, then custom validation, duplicate rules. So you need to follow this along the way, and you'll find that it will lead to you when things will be called again. And the reason why, because some stuff you do will update the record and will trigger again things to be executed one more time. So why the flow is executed again, it because maybe you are like the flow is updating, or it's doing an assignment, or it's running, like it will tell you exactly the steps you have to go through it. So this is the original, this is the new value. It does some system validations here, then record trigger flow, then execute all before triggers. So flows first, then triggers. And that's important because some people sometimes have logic in both record trigger flows or before triggers or both together. And sometimes they complain that they were expecting something to happen, but it got overwritten. And that's because the before trigger override what's the value happening in the flow. So we have to be mindful of the order. Then here, run most of system validation steps again. So it tells you it will run it again, non-null values and the other system validation. Then here, the duplicate rule. Then it will save the record, but it's not committed. It does the after trigger. It does the assignment rule, auto response rules, workflow rules for the field updates. So it does explain to here. And it tells you that some of them will cause the before update or after update triggers to be executed escalation. So you have to go through it step by step, and it's explained to you what's happening and the reason why it's happening, because some of the actions you do, it will fire again that the trigger or the flow will run again. And that's why part of it, when we, and it's not covered in this week's session, there is ways to stop duplicate rules or like rerunning the trigger more than once unnecessary. And that's by creating a static variable. But in my opinion, that's a more advanced topic than the level we are like still at. So introducing this now in static variables to stop running the trigger again will be a bit confusing. So it's not covered in this sprint, but you can avoid running the trigger again because of one of the changes along the path by having a static variable. So again, no one ever memorize this and the steps. You'll find them, there are 20 steps in them, and some of them repeat. You'll find another representation as a graphical representation. There is a graphical representation in Salesforce documentation for architects as well. I just don't have the link, but there is different presentations for it. So choose the one that you are more comfortable with and go along with it. It will explain exactly why it's happening in your case. And if you want to stop the trigger from running more than once, you'll have a static variable to stop it. So yeah, I hope that's a bit helpful. And I hope everyone will have a great week. It's exciting that we are starting the project. Get to know your team, start communicating in the channels. Make sure to choose a name and make a plan how you are tackling this week in terms of videos together to make sure everyone is on the same page. Make sure you choose a name. Make sure of like a best time of the day and week to meet, to have frequent communication. And then agree by when we should start working on the project or checking it together. And again, don't rush starting until you finish the videos. If we find that most of the team didn't get a chance to start, we may eliminate further requirements next week or make it simpler or remove some requirements that we want to add next week. So the communication is key. The more people will communicate where they are, we'll know how to proceed next week. The most important thing is to understand before jumping into the implementation. So again, don't rush the implementation, get to know each other, encourage each other to finish things. And thank you so much for coming. And please share that everyone needs to watch the video to know what to expect. And yeah, I will see you next week. And I will see 10 active groups on Slack, hopefully. And I wish you all the best. And thank you so much.